Many years ago, as the crack and rumble of war finally died down, a man with a love of the wild made his vision come true. Sir Peter Scott, son of Captain Scott of the Antarctic, knew that wildfowl needed space, and Slimbridge became that place. From humble beginnings on the banks of the River Severn has grown the Wildfowl and Wetland Trust, dedicated to conserving global wetlands and those creatures that depend on it. It has been said that if rainforests are the lungs of the planet, then wetlands are its lifeblood, and visitors to Slimbridge will be in no doubt of that by the time they leave. All 164 global species of wildfowl, that's ducks, swans and geese, thrive near wetlands from ponds to lakes, rivers, estuaries and mudflats. Winter is a top time to observe them as the Great North Atlantic migration occurs and huge flocks course across the sky to escape harsher weather further north. Mixed flocks of wildfowl, including greylag geese, pink-footed, lesser white fronts and barnacle geese, graze the marshland close to the river. And others, including the Buicks, Mute and Hooper swans, are drawn in close together with pinioned birds to feast on the grain from the WWT wardens. It was whilst painting these stunning birds that Sir Peter Scott noticed the strength of their family bonds and the individuality of their features. He observed that each Buick's bill had a unique pattern, and so individual birds could be recognised and named, then followed as they returned year after year. Research plays an important part in the race to safeguard the stop-off and breeding grounds wildfowl use around the world. Bird rings bring in the data researchers need, as well as GIS mapping from microtags attached to their bodies. No wild bird wishes to be caught, so cannon netting and the use of bird decoy allow them to be captured and marked before release. They are then on their way, providing data to help conserve their species. Regular wetland bird surveys across the country by volunteers add to the database and the powerful use of that information for conservation. Bird hides allow us to watch wildfowl without disturbing them as we're hidden from view. And quiet walkways past pollarded willows with glimpses of open fields reminds visitors of who has priority in this place. Children can learn through watch and play, whilst information boards give the right number of facts to educate on the need for individual and global action. And if none of this strikes home, then it's hard not to appreciate the sheer beauty of the bird's plumage, or enjoy their antics and behaviour. Sir Peter Scott had a vision, and that vision grew. Now the WWT welcomes 1 million visitors a year to its 9 wetland centres in Britain. And more research and conservation projects are being undertaken than ever before, with 40% of all species depending on freshwater wetlands when they only cover 1% of the planet's surface. And with more than 1 billion people depending on them, even though the world's wetlands are disappearing 3 times faster than forests. There has never been a better time to support conservation organisations working to save our wetlands from disappearing. Will you create a pond in your garden? Sir Peter Scott's vision was magical, but the reality is now down to us.